Happy Monday. So today we are talking about 21 of the do's and don'ts of LinkedIn. If you're looking to make the most out of your LinkedIn experience, these tips will actually help you make better connections, avoid common mistakes, and really stand out in the right ways. And that really matters. So before we jump in, how was your weekend? I had one of those get myself organized weekends where I was like analyzing all of the tools, subscriptions, strategies, those that I've been using for my business and personal life to decide which to keep and which should go. So, if you're a fan of minimalism, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It's about getting rid of the stuff that we no longer need, maybe changing things around, and it feels kind of good. It's not like spring cleaning because it's fall, but it just feels great to get things organized. I also was able to watch the documentary Will and Harper. So if you haven't seen it, as someone who came out later in life, this story really resonated with me because I'm still discovering what it means to be really me as a lesbian and showing up in the real world as a gay woman. So I highly recommend it if you're into films that make you think and feel. So good weekend overall. Hope yours was good as well. Now it's time for Mondays with Mindy. This is a weekly show at 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, where I talk about all things LinkedIn, a pipeline, a promo, and profiles, what I call the 3 Ps of LinkedIn. So, do you have questions about LinkedIn that you want me to answer? Be sure to like this post, whether you're watching live or from the replay. Leave your questions below, and I will either answer them after the show or on a future episode of Mondays with Mindy. Now, today's topic is packed with actionable insights, stuff that you can actually do. So, we're kind of getting out of the big, heady stuff and getting into the very tactical do's and don'ts. So you'll come away with a full guide to making LinkedIn work for you without falling into some common traps. It's really easy to get into LinkedIn and just start doing stuff without actually knowing how to interact on LinkedIn. So for those of you who have been on LinkedIn for a while, you will still find some good stuff in this list. And we all need reminders from time to time. And for those of you who are beginners or just trying to find your way on LinkedIn, there's also some good stuff in here for you so you can feel more confident. All right. So when I taught the latest cohort of the LinkedIn Accelerator, this is a program I teach usually a few times a year. It was an engaging group with a lot of excellent questions. And as part of my cleaning up, organizing process this weekend, I was going through the recordings over this past week, and it really got me thinking about today's topic. I was kind of digging through there, like, okay, what things should I talk about? What topics and themes came up in prior cohorts? And many of the people I work with are either in the process of finding a new job or wanting to start using LinkedIn. Maybe they're a beginner, maybe they're not, maybe they want to take it to the next level. And they're really after building a personal brand. They really want to promote their company. They want to be seen as thought leaders, and they want to promote their coaching programs or services. I would say for the majority of them, they are less interested in getting 10,000 followers in the next 30 days. And they're really more interested in that long term sustainable approach to LinkedIn. You'll hear me talk about that a lot because there are so many people out there that are like flash in the pans on LinkedIn. You're going to see them now, 6 months later. Probably not going to see them. I'm here as like the let's trudge through LinkedIn, keep it going, slow and steady wins the race type of approach, and something that is sustainable. Most of us don't really care about being the LinkedIn guru or the most popular person. If you do, you're probably watching the wrong video. Go follow somebody else. I think many of you who tune in and who write into the show, you are really focused on how to use your LinkedIn profile appropriately because you want it to do the heavy lifting when it comes to attracting the right people. And then how do you do LinkedIn right? You want the results from LinkedIn. It's not about tomorrow, though. It's not that you need results instantly. It's more about, okay, how do I build this into something that I can do for years to come and really use LinkedIn as a steady source of relationship building, networking, content? You want to be on LinkedIn and you want to do it well. So the funny thing about this is, okay, so over the weekend in my cleaning up, organizing phase, I actually came across an interesting email from a well-known expert with like 100K followers or more. And they were raving about how they used this tool paired with that tool, and they are so happy they don't have to spend as much time on LinkedIn. Okay, all right. But the irony was that this person is known as a LinkedIn expert. Like what they teach is LinkedIn and social selling on LinkedIn. So, how does this expert not want to be on LinkedIn? So, of course, we know they are an affiliate for each of these tools, making a nice commission on the back end with their giant email list. Now, I don't have a problem with affiliate marketing, but I do think this was really interesting because they are trying to take you off LinkedIn to give you the results that only being on LinkedIn gives you. So I found myself wanting to actually test drive both of these tools, but then I realized that's completely missing the point, Mindy. I want to network on LinkedIn. I want to spend time here. I teach people how to be here, not sending them off to all of these different tools so I can make a little bit of extra moolah. So by spending more time on LinkedIn, inside the platform, I can help more people like me who are eager to network like a boss on LinkedIn. So, okay, rant aside, did that just count as one of my don'ts? Don't avoid spending time on LinkedIn to shortcut and automate the process. If you're here to do business, even if you think nobody will know the difference, we can all tell if you're automating it. Okay, so we'll talk about more of the rest of my do's and don'ts on LinkedIn in just a moment. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Mindy Ramsey, and I have an online program called the LinkedIn Accelerator for those who want to go from 0 to 60 on LinkedIn with their profile and their network. So I usually run this cohort, as I mentioned earlier, usually a few times per year. So the next time that I'm running it is January 2025. So I am actually revamping it because a lot of the stuff I taught not too long ago is now it's new and improved, right? LinkedIn has evolved, which is a good thing. So I'm really excited about the updates and reworking the program. I help leaders feel who they are, who feel they are the best kept secret in their industry to become that go-to visible expert in their niche so they can get that next opportunity, grow their business, and scale their impact. In this live, we're diving into the 21 do's and don'ts of LinkedIn that can really help you transform your LinkedIn profile from like average or ho-hum to impactful. So we're going to cover everything from the common pitfalls people make, like generic headlines, bulk connection requests, to the best practices that actually boost your credibility and open doors. So if you're ready to unlock LinkedIn's full potential, we're going to dive right in. And if you're live or catching the replay, go ahead and give this post a like to show some social love and let me know you are ready to talk about all things LinkedIn. All right. So we're going to talk about 21. This is a big list, but we're going to go pretty quickly through them. As a heads up, for those of you who are like Mindy, I'd like to review the list and actually see it written. Look for the LinkedIn newsletter version of this live. It always comes out the day after the live goes live. So on Tuesdays, just go ahead and subscribe to the newsletter. You can look for it on my LinkedIn profile, and you will be notified when it goes up every week. But just check my profile if you want to see the list. Okay. So networking etiquette on LinkedIn is really important because first impressions matter, even online, offline too. How you approach someone on LinkedIn can be the difference between actually forming a lasting connection, being ignored, or even like being blocked or archived. I've archived a lot of messages or muted them on LinkedIn just because somebody's pitching me and spamming me. So today we're going to go over the do's and don'ts of LinkedIn network so you can really stand out, but in a good way. So first, we're going to talk about LinkedIn profile optimization. All right, so before you even start connecting with people, like you're excited, like I want to do this LinkedIn thing, you actually need to fix your profile. So you need to spend a little bit of time making sure that it's up to par because a half-done profile is like showing up to a networking event in your sweats. It's not the best look. Okay. So first things first, LinkedIn profile. So here are 3 do's we're going to talk about. First, update your profile picture. Make sure that it's a professional headshot that reflects who you are now, not 10 years ago. I took mine, actually, if you look at mine, I took it outdoors on an iPhone using portrait mode. And I actually don't even recommend getting profile pics professionally done if you can DIY. A lot of times, if you're doing it yourself, you can see, get the mirror effect so you can actually see what you look like when the photo is getting taken. So it doesn't take too long to do. I would say for most people, get your best look on, go outside. That natural light is really helpful. And then if you want to do it in nature or against a blank wall, it's up to you. Okay. Number 2, craft a compelling headline. So the headline is what that title is right underneath your name on LinkedIn. So a formula that I love and teach is 4 things, all right? So who you are, All right. So this is like your job title, whom you help, which is like, who do you help? What's your target audience? Who are the people that you work with? How you help. So, what do you actually do? And then the results you generate. So, by working with you or hiring you, what do I get from all of that? So, those are the four things you want to get into that headline area. You want people to instantly know what you bring to the table and how you can help them. You think, oh, wait, this is my headline. Shouldn't it be about me? Yes and no. It's really about attracting the right people whom you can help professionally, of course. So, really think through your headline. This is critically important. It's worth spending a little extra time here. I have some prior videos that you can just look up. Just look up my name, Mindy Rosser, because that's my former last name. Look that up and then just look up LinkedIn profile headline. You'll see stuff pop up on Google. Check it out. It will help you with your headline. Okay. Number 3, fully optimize your profile. So before you even think about sending connection requests, take 15 minutes, okay? So actually just pull up your LinkedIn profile. You can do it with me while we're talking and just start looking at the different sections. So make sure you have your summary, your about section, your experience, your skills. Make sure everything is current and relevant. And then make a note of anything that needs to be reworked. All right. So you're going to look at it and you're going to say, I need to actually look at my about section, or I need to add an experience. If you can do it right then and there, go for it. It's better to have something there than nothing, but make sure there's at least placeholder content or you are planning to come back to it at some point. All right. So headline needs to be there, something in the about section. You need to have some experience sections. So more than one. So just scan through that and make a note of what you need to come back to. All right. So now let's talk about the don'ts. Number 4. Don't use too many emojis in your headline. I use some. So you will look at mine, you'll see, well, Mindy, you use some emojis. Yes, I do. If you want to come across as trustworthy, professional, and competent, really think through, should you include emojis or not? I'm a little bit more casual. Some people are a little bit more professional. And if you are working with a corporate audience, I would probably avoid emojis completely. All right. So use keywords that matter to your audience and also are search worthy phrases to help you show up in LinkedIn search. So replace some of those emojis with either a better keyword. Even if you want to put that little line break thing in there, you can. I always forget what it's called and I will be corrected. Feel free to put it in the comments. But that little line straight up and down line that goes between the phrases, that can work well if you're trying to break up certain sections in your headline. All right. Number 5. Don't leave your about section incomplete or empty. Okay, so if it is empty right now or it's got like one sentence, add at least a paragraph, come back to it. You need a fully fleshed out about section if you want to use LinkedIn well. All right. Some people can get away with it and say, well, Mindy, I've been doing fine without one. Yes, but do you know how much better you could be doing with one? It is optimized for search. It also really gives people a nice snapshot of your professional journey and who you're interested in connecting with. Okay. So it doesn't have to be perfect, but put something there. Even if you're grabbing stuff from a bio, a resume, executive summary, put something there for now and make a note to come back to it later. All right. Number 6, generic headlines and summaries from AI. Don't use them. Okay. They sound terrible. And I've come across so many of them now because I use ChatGPT. I use it when I'm reworking profiles. It's a great tool to brainstorm and get some ideas. But if you just take whatever it spits out and put it there without looking through it, without really thinking through your value proposition, it's not a good look. All right. So you've got to stand out in a sea of professionals. We can all tell if you've used it because we all use it too. All right. So use AI to help you, but be sure to add in some other elements that show a human actually wrote the headline or worked on it before hitting publish. All right. All right. And if you're really feeling stuck on your LinkedIn profile, shoot me a DM, shoot me a message. I will do a complimentary 2-minute LinkedIn profile video review for you to share a few individual pointers. So you don't have to join my list or give me your email to get this. Just shoot me a LinkedIn message. Happy to do this for you to really kind of help you figure out, okay, where should I focus my attention? All right. Now we're going to move into LinkedIn connection strategy. So we're going to move on to building your network strategically, which is key. You don't want to just connect with random people and hope for the best. I talk about this a lot. If you've come across my content before, you will know that this is one of my shticks, right? So here are some do's for your connection strategy. So we're at number 7. All right. So start with people you know. This is common sense, right? But begin by connecting with colleagues, clients, or even friends. These are your first 100 connections. So if you're brand new, even if you're not brand new, you'd be surprised like how many times you start working with someone, you're like, oh, we're not connected on LinkedIn, So make sure to connect with everyone that you know on LinkedIn. And if it's been a little while I'm talking here, while you're listening and watching this video, just look them up and see if you're connected. Send them a quick connection invitation. All right, take action. All right, so number 8, aim for 500 to 1,000 quality connections. All right, most people do not need 10,000 plus followers, 50,000. Maybe you do. That is up to you. That is your personal preference. You don't have to have thousands of connections to be credible, though, on LinkedIn. All right. But getting to 500 is a really good starting point for networking success. Some people will say, Mindy, I don't want to hit that 500. I know some of you reach out to me and say, Mindy, do I really need 500? I really only want 250. This is your network. You can choose whatever size you would like. If you want to be able to pick up the phone and call people that are your connections because you are that close with them, great. Then that is the network size that you are shooting for. For those of you who are trying to get more gigs, you want to attract more job opportunities, you have a course, you have a program, you're a consultant, you're a thought leader, you're a CEO, you probably should shoot for a few more connections than 500. All right. So I also wrote an article about how to get 200 connections. So if you just Google that, 200 LinkedIn connections, Mindy Rosser, you will see that article pop up. It's pretty popular on LinkedIn. I think if you're watching this pretty close to when this airs, it's also in my featured section on my profile. So you can easily find it there. This will help you get started and accelerate the process. All right, number 9, personalize your connection requests. So if you're connecting with somebody, you want to personalize it if possible. For those of you who have a free LinkedIn account, you're going to be limited here because I think as of now, you can only personalize about 10 connection requests per month. So if you're sending out more connections than that per month, you aren't going to be able to personalize all of them. So if you're going to send a blank connection invitation, see if you can send a LinkedIn message. Some people have open profiles, so you can just message them and then send a connection invitation. If you can't do that, then try to comment and engage with their content. Do something so when you do send a blank connection invitation, they're not like, who's this? Are you trying to sell me something? Because that's what we're all wondering when we get connection invitations from people we don't recognize or know. So take 30 seconds if you can personalize your connection invitations to just really add a personal touch. It doesn't have to be a lot. It can make a really big difference just by writing something. Okay. Number 10. Follow up after events. I talked about this a couple weeks ago with groups and getting connected. If you attend a workshop, a roundtable, or a virtual event, in-person event, don't hesitate to connect with the presenters, other active participants. Maybe there were moderators, maybe there were volunteers or hosts. This is a great way to keep the conversation going beyond the event and grow your network at the same time. It's a natural follow-up to that conversation. You can also discuss your takeaways. Like this is just do it. Do it. Like for those of you who are like, Mindy, I don't have a good network. I need to get in touch with the right people. Start going to one workshop, one roundtable, one webinar every single week, engaging with people, and then following up with them on LinkedIn. This is a really good way to get to know your industry, your ideal customers, to connect with peers and colleagues, and get yourself out there. Okay. Don'ts. All right. So don'ts around LinkedIn connections. All right. Number 11, don't skip your homework before you connect. Okay. So you would not cold call someone without looking them up online or finding out more information about them. I think most of us would not cold call someone, period, unless we were in sales. So check out the person's profile before you send a connection request. You don't have to do a lot. Like maybe you don't discover anything new, but by actually looking at their profile, a lot of people can actually see if you viewed their profile. So this is in their history if they have a premium account. So it's a good idea. So even if you see their name pop up and you're like, do I really need to click into their profile? Do it. It shows that you have done your homework, and you might pick up on something there that would actually inform your connection invitation. So again, when I was talking about the 30 seconds to personalize the connection invitation, you could learn a lot from spending 15, 30 seconds looking at someone's profile, then spending another 30 seconds personalizing your connection invitation. 1 minute to make one quality connection. Okay. All right. Number 12, avoid connecting just for the numbers. This is icky, very, very icky, and a lot of people do it. It's not a popularity contest on LinkedIn. It's just not. All right. Every connection should have a purpose and it should feel like a two-way street. All right. If you're sending this and you know that this is for your benefit and it doesn't benefit them at all to connect with you, you shouldn't send the connection invitation. I know it's tough news, right? So we can tell if we're on the receiving end, we can tell if you're just trying to goose your numbers. Like, why are you reaching out to me? There is no reason for us to be connected. All right. So really think through why you're connecting. Make it make sense. It needs to be really obvious to the other person why you are reaching out to connect with them. That's why it helps so much to do workshops and roundtables, events, engage with people elsewhere, and then connect with them on LinkedIn because it's a natural follow up to that activity. Okay. Number 13, don't pitch right away, if at all. I really don't like pitching on LinkedIn. The worst thing that you can do, okay, this truly is the worst thing you can do, is connect with someone and immediately try to sell them something. All right, so a lot of you are like, well, I don't actually sell them something. A lot of things count as selling to people on LinkedIn. All right, if you are handing them a Calendly link, that's selling. If you're saying, check out my website, that's selling. If you say, I want to share a little bit of background about me, and you have like paragraphs about you and your target audience, and you have a product or a program or a webinar coming up, that's all selling. All right. Yuck, 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 yuck. So just because you're not asking for them to purchase does not mean you are not selling. So you really want to build a relationship first. And a lot of salespeople get mad and say, well, I don't want to because I've got to meet my numbers. Okay. Invest in the long game. If you're going to use LinkedIn messaging and connecting to sell to people, you need to really figure out how you can provide value without coming across as salesy. So a lot of things on LinkedIn, it's like this gray area in sales and LinkedIn. Yes, they go together. There's a right way to do it. And we're not going to get into that here, but there is a dance that must be done if you are going to use LinkedIn in this way. So don't pitch right away. Just avoid it. All right. So getting connected on LinkedIn is not something you want to rush into headfirst without a strategy. Think through. It doesn't have to be a fleshed out, beautiful, frame-worthy strategy. It really doesn't. You just need to think about the one group of people you want to add to your network first and start with them. And it's not a race. So you're going to learn things as you start connecting. Pay attention to the connections that you receive from other people too. Which ones do you like? Which ones do you not like? You're going to come across some that are really good and you want to actually copy them. That's great. That's how we learn. We come across good ones and we iterate and we make them our own. All right. So getting connected on LinkedIn, have a strategy. Can be simple, but it needs to be thoughtful so that you're not just like randomly trying to figure out what you're doing on LinkedIn. All right. Now we get to move into LinkedIn engagement. All right. So now you've started connecting, you've worked on your profile, and that's just the start. All right. Engaging with your network is just as important. So we're going to talk about some do's and don'ts and how to do it right. So here's what you should do. Number 14, engage in the comments. When you comment on someone's post, add something meaningful. This is your chance. It really is to show your expertise, show your personality. And you can also, if you don't know what to say, you can also just ask a follow-up question. If you're trying to learn more about the topic, it shows that you're curious. It also shows that you're not a bot. So there are a lot of bot responses, and you can tell when you see them on a post. They're really annoying to the person who is posting to you. Think, oh, well, I'm helping them because I'm boosting it in the feed. It's like, you're not. You're kind of spamming their post and trying to get more visibility because they're popular, or you think, oh, this is a great post. I want to get my name in front of people. You are damaging your brand. You are damaging your personal brand by doing that. You are not helping yourself. So if you're going to engage in the comments, let it be you. Yes, it is slower. Yes, it is more tedious. Yes, you do have to do a little bit more digging, but is it worth it? Yes, because you are learning LinkedIn along the way. You are not just automating the process before you understand LinkedIn. All right. 15. Number 15. Share valuable content regularly. All right. This does not mean every day. This does not mean necessarily multiple times per week. It could be weekly. This isn't just about promoting your own stuff either. This could also be sharing articles, insights, reposting from your company if you are an employee or you have a company page. Could be resources that are relevant to your network. You could find some industry leaders, influencers, and reshare their content with your take, point people to them. A lot of different things you can do here, but find a pace and a schedule that works for you and stick with that. It doesn't have to be, like I said, every day. Just try to find a cadence that works for you. If you're just starting out, posting once per week is really, really good to start. If you can increase that, 2, maybe 3 times per week, that's usually where I end up, is also pretty good. All right, number 16. Use messaging for meaningful, underline conversations. When someone connects with you, don't just leave it there. That's a big mistake. We were like, oh, well, I don't want to be pitchy. Mindy said I can't be spammy. I don't want to be salesy. What do I say? I don't know what to say, but I don't want to just leave it there. So what you can do is you can drop them a quick message to introduce yourself, but don't talk about, oh, here's my Rolodex of clients, or here's how popular or wonderful I am. Like, don't be patting yourself on the back in that intro. Just like share what you're interested in, what you want to learn on LinkedIn, or maybe you notice something on their profile and you're like, oh, that's really interesting. How did you come up with that headline? So there are a lot of different ways that you can keep that conversation going without pitching or selling. I usually like to ask a follow-up question because it can be easy for them to answer. Don't pick something really like where they have to sit there and think for 2 minutes. It needs to be like quick and easy for them to answer it, or it keeps the conversation going. Ask them something about themselves, ask them about their professional work, their history, a piece of content that they've written, show that you are interested in them. Again, it's kind of like dating in a sense, where you are looking for meaningful conversations. One of the easiest things you can do is to ask them about themselves, because most people will be very happy to tell you. All right, number 17. Let's talk about some don'ts. All right. Don't spam people with unsolicited messages. All right. So after you've connected, one of the big mistakes I see a lot of people make is that we've been connected. I felt like we had a conversation, and then they interject it with like an invite to their webinar. And it feels completely out of context. It's like, don't do that. Like, we were just having a great conversation and your automated tool just threw something in my inbox. Like, this isn't you. This is a sales email content message. Like, if I want that type of content, I will subscribe to your email list. I'm expecting to be pitched there, but not in my LinkedIn messages. So if you have a sales pitch or webinar invite, LinkedIn messaging is not the place for it unless the person asks. If you're having a great conversation, you're DMing, you're having good messages, you are doing your follow-up, you are engaging like a human in your messages, the person may very well ask, hey, can I get on your email list? Can we exchange emails? Here's my email. Where can I learn more about you? Do you have any classes or workshops coming up? Things like that will naturally evolve. Don't rush them. Don't spam. You're going to tarnish your LinkedIn reputation. All right, number 18, don't over tag people on LinkedIn. Tagging people for attention really, really backfires, especially if you don't know the person well. It also looks very 2021, as that was like our go-to strategy back then, where everyone was tagging everyone. You'd get into these little pods and all tag each other. It's not a good look anymore, so avoid it. Everyone knows what you're doing. It looks like you're grasping for attention. Just don't do it. Number 19, don't neglect your existing network. A lot of times we're so focused on growing our network that we forget about all of the wonderful people who are already a part of our network. I am very guilty of this. Okay. I will admit it here. It's easy to get caught up in just like focusing on like, ooh, these new people I just met. But remember to nurture the relationships you already have. Don't forget to re-engage with people you have not interacted with in a year or two. Maybe it's been longer. And when you see their content, every once in a while, I'll see people's content pop up in my feed. I'm like, oh, it's been forever since I reached out to this person. I may engage with that content or shoot them a LinkedIn message. So really think about your existing network. I'm also going through this process, and it's going to take a while because I have a lot of connections, but I exported my entire list of LinkedIn connections. I think there's like 8,000 something on that list. It's a lot of rows in a CSV file. And I'm actually taking time to go through each line by line by line and think through people I've connected with. Is it a good time to reach out? Does it make sense to still be connected? That takes a lot of work, but I truly care about the people in my network. I want to be a resource to them. I also don't want to just be somebody that they connected with, 7, 8 years ago. And it's like, we are not at all relevant to each other now? So that's a really good way to clean up your network and really think through your connections and what can you do with the people that are already there? How can you help them professionally? All right, 20. We're at 20. Wow. Okay. Don't outsource your engagement to a tool. I kind of talked about this earlier with the LinkedIn expert recommending 2 tools that work together and you can get your numbers up and you don't have to be on LinkedIn because LinkedIn is just hard to navigate. Okay. So no AI tool can replace the actual you. I used to be very anti tools in general, and I'm not 100% against all tools, but I think what we often do when we rely on a tool because it's the latest and greatest, everybody's using it, is that we let it do all the heavy lifting and we lose touch with what we're actually here to do. So I just want to caution you, remember that a tool is not you. All right. You can teach a tool to make it sound like you, but it's not you actually engaging. All right. So really think through your comfortability with tools and AI. I know it's a gray area, and we need to learn how to evolve with it when it comes to LinkedIn. So we've all seen those comments. Like I said, like someone just came out of nowhere and said, "This is great," without context. Don't let that be you. Think through your relationship with tools. When are tools serving you? When are you relying too heavily on them? Doesn't make sense to scale back at least for a little bit and see if you still really need that tool or if it's just like, you know what? I actually like being on LinkedIn. I actually like engaging. I kind of like discovering people in my feed. I don't have to have this perfectly curated list of influencers. There's something to be said for a little bit of the serendipity effect on LinkedIn, which I think the tools don't address and cannot address adequately. And last but not least, number 21, don't over optimize for the algorithm. All right, I hear so many questions and comments and like buzz around the algorithm. Now, if you do not follow Richard Vanderblom, I've mentioned him lots of times. He has an algorithm report. It just came out last week and it's free. So I highly recommend that you go check it out. But even he will say, don't write necessarily for the algorithm, write for your people. There's a lot to be learned from what LinkedIn is doing and the changes. So when it comes to formatting and posts, yes, it's great to know what the algorithm shows us that it's doing. But then again, the algorithm can change just like that. You can change your entire content strategy and be obsessed with the algorithm picking up your post, or you can actually write content for the people that you can help. For me, I'd much rather obsess about what do you need? Like what would make your life easier? If you're a normal everyday LinkedIn user and you want to do this well, you want to grow your business, you want to stay relevant, you don't want to waste time like being the ultimate LinkedIn guru yourself, what practical stuff can I share with you? To me, that's what matters on LinkedIn is helping you get to where you need to go using LinkedIn without it taking over your life. So really think about your audience and what they need from you and write for that, not just for the algorithm, although there's a lot to be learned from it. I'm still going through the report myself, so I'll probably talk a little bit more about that in some future content. All right, so to sum it all up, LinkedIn networking is really about being intentional, authentic, and patient. Patient, that's hard. So your profile sets the stage, like we talked about. Your connection should be strategic, matched to your goals, and have that two-way street feel to them. And engagement is also where the magic happens, where you're deepening those relationships with people. So if you follow these simple do's and avoid the don'ts, you're going to build not just a bigger network, but a better one that is filled with meaningful connections. I also want to know, do you have a favorite LinkedIn do or don't to add to the list? There are so many of them. I would love to hear it. If you have a LinkedIn pet peeve, leave it in the comments below. Let's have some fun around your favorite do's and don'ts. I love to discuss this with everyone. So I hope you found these tips helpful, and I challenge you to take just one of these strategies and implement it on LinkedIn today. Just one. Don't have to do all 21, but you'll notice that they kind of start naturally happening for you the more that you use LinkedIn as well. So one more thing, before you start actively growing your network, make sure that your profile is dialed in to increase your chances of getting that connection invitation accepted and also increase your chances of being shown in the feed when you are posting content. All right. So we talked about the importance of a good profile a little bit today as a starting point, and it's very important to ensure that these do's and don'ts work for you. When you have an optimized profile, that makes LinkedIn much more valuable. Okay, so you can check out my free 3-part mini training, how to reboot your LinkedIn profile to grow your online business. This will help you. So you can see the link scrolling across. It's mindyrosser.com/LinkedIn reboot. You want me to spell it out for you? It is jam-packed with templates, examples, and also a step-by-step approach to optimize your headline. We talked about that today. And the 2 most important parts of your about section, and also how to do this in a way that will build your list and grow your impact. So feel free to check it out if it's of interest. And thanks again for hanging out with me. This was really, really fun. Let's stay connected. Feel free to DM me if you want to discuss LinkedIn networking, what's working for you, or if you have future topics you want me to dive into. Until next time, keep those connections real and those conversations meaningful. I will see you all next week on Mondays with Mindy. Bye for now.